the start of a new chapter in my life. I am about to start testosterone, and I wanted to document this moment as week 0 before things start to change. This video for me, honestly, is a sort of time capsule, but also I hope it can help anyone out there who's feeling the same way I did, confused, scared, maybe a little excited, but mostly just ready. We're going to talk about a lot today, from what it's been like living as a woman to how I got here to what I'm hoping for. So buckle up. It might get a little weird. Okay, so let's start at the beginning. Before I even knew what transgender meant, I always felt a little bit off, like something wasn't quite right. I'm autistic and I also have ADHD, so I sort of chalked it up to being neurodivergent for most of my life. Eventually, I got therapy for that stuff, and then that feeling of being off got a little better, but I still felt like something was wrong. I felt like I was lying all the time, even when I was being honest, like I was keeping some kind of big secret, but I could never figure out what I was lying about. I also refused to ever be hypnotized or do anything that would make me feel too vulnerable, like any kind of serious drugs or anything, in case whatever that secret was happened to come out. But now I get it. I was trans all along, and I didn't have the words to explain what I was feeling. I explain being trans and not knowing it like this. Imagine that you're in a play. You're only allowed to play one role, female. You're only allowed to learn female actions, female lines. You're only allowed to stand on the female sections of the stage and sing the female lines of the song. But meanwhile, none of the actions you're taking feel natural to you. You want to do something else that feels more natural, but you don't know what. And the entire time, you're wearing a costume that doesn't fit, it isn't comfortable, and it looks baggy and wrong when you look in the mirror. The costume is terrible, but it's all you're allowed to wear. So you dress it up and you try to make it work, but no matter what you wear over the costume or what minor changes you make to it to try to get it to fit, it just makes you feel less and less natural. I tried really hard to fit in the mold, makeup, dresses, the whole 9 yards, but it always felt like I was playing the wrong part. It just wasn't me. And I think a lot of trans people relate to this. The feeling of being trapped in a role that you never chose. Meanwhile, I'm trying to live a normal life confined to my role of female. In college, I found a great boyfriend and then married him, and we had 2 kids together, and life was great. Except I always felt like I was lying, and I could never figure out why. I strive to be as honest as I can be, and it felt like a blow to my sense of self that I was lying, and I couldn't figure out what I was lying about. I lived like that for a long time. I was never really much good at the femme thing, but I gave it my best, and no matter what I did, it never felt right. Then, sometime into our marriage, I learned about transgendered people. I don't remember exactly when or where I learned about them, but the idea that you could choose to play another role than what you were born into took root in my head, and I couldn't shake it no matter how hard I tried. It was like a light bulb had gone off in the attic recesses of my mind, but also like a fire alarm started going off, because now I had a name for what I was feeling, and that was scary. Trans. It was something someone could choose to be. Wild. I spent a long time in denial, maybe like 5 years after I learned about trans people existing. I told myself I could just ignore it and continue to live my life as a female. I tried to live my life as a very femme-presenting person. I converted to Catholicism. I adhered to the theology of the body. I sent the kids to Catholic school and even held conservative political views for a while. But nothing I did to lean the other way helped. The more femme I tried to be, the less femme I felt. It's a weird place to be. I knew what I was now, but I was too afraid to admit it. I think a lot of us spend time in this place. After about 5 years of mulling this over privately in my heart, I told my husband about it, and it made him feel very uncomfortable for obvious reasons. We prayed over it, asking God to take this feeling away from me so that we could live a normal life together. We kept praying over this for another 5 long years, but no matter how many rosaries we said over it, the feeling that I was lying about who and what I was just got stronger and stronger. So, what finally pushed me to come out? A lot of things, but mostly it was the realization that I couldn't keep living a lie. I was miserable. I was having panic attacks. I was suicidal. And I was using THC to cope with the pain of living without being honest about who and what I was. During my last THC binge, I realized that if I wanted to stay alive and I wanted to stay sober, I was going to have to be honest about the big lie I've been living my whole life, that I was actually a dude stuck in a female body. I pulled off the mask that I had to wear in order to get by in society, the one that was named Megan, and chose the name Robert because it has endless variations just like me. You can go by Rob or Bob, Robbie or Bobby, Robert or Bobbert. I mean, really, the choices are endless. And we are like that. We have endless opportunities, endless possibilities, all mixed up in ourselves. I really like the idea of that. Coming out to my friends and family was a mixed bag. Pretty much everyone I told was amazing about it. I got a lot of, I'm so proud of you and I'm so happy for you for living your truth. Coming out to most people was a positive experience. And then some people, well, we're just not talking right now at all. I have one hardline boundary about my transition, and that is if you can't bring yourself to use my chosen name and my chosen pronouns, at least find a neutral way to refer to me. I have friends that call me Bobby because that's a more femme way to say Robert. I have friends that call me Megbert, which is a combination of my dead name and my chosen name. I am willing to compromise with the people in my life because I know it's a hard ask to ask folks who have known me for my whole life by one name to call me by another name. I get it. I try to work with folks wherever possible. But if you purposefully dead name me and purposefully use the wrong pronouns, you are disrespecting a massive part of my sense of self. You are disrespecting me, my choices. Only a few people have made it to my personal ban list, but I don't budge about this boundary. I mean, come on, it's the one boundary I have about all this. Make an effort at least. Jeez. Coming out at work was surprisingly easy. I was expecting the worst, but my coworkers have been great. It helps to have a supportive environment. I work at a great place. I got a lot of I'm proud of yous from my coworkers, and that felt good. Only a couple of people that I work with aren't talking to me anymore, and honestly, my life isn't worse off for their loss. Changing my name was interesting. Did you know that most HR departments don't require a legal name change before you change your display name in the system? I didn't. My legal name changes years off, but my job has already changed my name in their system. And apparently, I broke one of our bespoke programs because they had no way to change names in that program, and they had to write a whole new line of code to allow for name changes. They did that just for me. I feel so honored. My kids figured it out on their own. I guess they overheard my husband and I talking about it, and then they drew their own conclusions. They cornered me about it, and they were more upset that we didn't talk to them about it sooner than about the fact that I was coming out as Robert. My youngest said he thought the name Charlie would be a better name for me than Robert. But neither of them seemed to mind me coming out as male, and now they call me Papa. I wouldn't ask them to call me Dad or Daddy since that's my husband's spot. So now I'm Papa to them, and when they catch themselves saying Mommy or Mother, they correct it and say Papa or Padre instead. It feels so great to have their wholehearted support, even with everything they're going to go through once I come out to the church and their school. Once it hits the student body that they have two dads, that's going to be hard for them to navigate. So I'm trying to be as present for them as I can in the moment and allow them to feel all their feelings as much as possible. My husband wants a divorce. That's hard. After I initially told him 5 years ago, I thought maybe love would win. I thought maybe he would understand and love me enough to see past the name change and the sex change to who I really am. And we'd work together to find a new normal and live happily ever after. But I guess the Catholic in him just won't let him be married to a dude. It's asking too much from him, and we've already been through so much this far. He's reached his breaking point when it comes to me, and I respect that. I am not too much, but I am too much for him, and that has to be okay. Either way, I can't live the lie anymore. I can't go back to being Megan and ignore the changes in me since coming out as Robert. I have to be me. I have to be who I've always been underneath the Megan mask. I can't live for someone else, even him. I love him so much. But it was a choice between a live Robert or a dead Megan. And the choice is easy for me. I choose to stay alive so that I can love my family and be present for them as much as they'll let me be. I can love my husband from a distance if need be. I've been calling my husband my partner to make things easier for him, but my feelings for him haven't changed at all. He's still the man I love, and the man I married, and the man I gave my heart to. I gave him all of me. I showed him my truth before I came out to anyone else, and when I came out as Robert, he rejected me outright, and that stings. But my love for him isn't dependent on him loving me in return. I can still be present for him without him loving me back. So that's what I'm going to do. I will love him as much as he'll let me from a safe distance. Anyway, my partner's response to my transition aside, it's been a mostly positive experience so far, and it's not over. But I'm finally starting to feel like myself. I invested in some guy clothes, which I guess is just clothes now, and a binder to compress the girls so they aren't so jubbly. And I feel more comfortable in my skin now than I ever have before. I don't have that constant nagging feeling that I'm lying anymore, and I can be rigorously honest and mean it when I say that I am honest about everything. I love being an open book, and I'm proud of the fact that I don't have any other secrets lying around. I mean, sure, yeah, there's some stuff that I'd prefer other people didn't know about me, but if it'll help someone, if it'll serve a purpose, I'll share those things too. I know that I don't have any shame about anything I've gone through. I don't regret the past. I use it to help others. And that's a gift that God has given me. My transness is a gift from God. I know I'm going to get some nasty comments below about that, but I don't care. I feel the way I feel. If anything, my faith in God has increased through all this. God doesn't make mistakes, and He doesn't make trash. I am exactly the way He made me, and I am Robert, and I am okay. I was meant to be this way. To help me through this transition, I watch a lot of YouTube videos of trans people talking about their transitions and what they deal with on a daily basis. I'll link some of them in the description for the video below. Anyway, they all pretty much agree that getting medical help was a game changer. Starting hormones helped them feel more comfortable in their skin, so that's what I decided to do. But finding a way to get those hormones was the trick, as I live in the conservative southeast of the USA, and good luck finding a local provider who's willing to provide any kind of gender affirming care at all, let alone prescribe hormones so I can feel comfortable in my own skin. By this time, I also had a couple of trans friends, and one of them suggested I try the mail order service they use. It's called Plume. I'll link it in the description below. And my experience with them has been pretty positive so far. I have my intake appointment with a hormone replacement therapist on April 9th, and I'm excited. Getting signed up for treatment was easy enough, just a lot of forms to fill out online, and the appointment is telehealth, so I don't have to leave the comfort of my house, which is super nice for my introverted self because the less often I have to leave the house, the better. I also found a trans affirming therapist, and that was one of the best things I ever did. Therapy is so important, especially during transition. It's a lot to process. Not only do I have the normal I am trans mindfuck to deal with, but I also have the grief from losing my life mate and some of my friends. There are also so many massive logistical changes and challenges to deal with when you come out as trans, and having some guidance through the mess is so important. But I will admit, I had some misgivings about medical transition. Testosterone causes permanent changes to the female body. It elongates certain parts, causes the voice to deepen, can cause hair loss on the head, and hair growth in places that aren't normal for female bodies to have hair. I'm not looking forward to having a hairy back. I guess that's why God made waxing salons. But interestingly, there's support for the medical need to transition. There are studies that show that trans brains fire the same way as their chosen gender. And that was really validating for me. Like, I am not mentally ill. My brain is just literally different from the average female brain. My brain fires like a dude's brain. And that was liberating. It's not my fault that I'm like this. If my brain is already firing as a male brain, then it makes sense to get my body as close to a male body as possible. The more masculine my body gets, the more comfortable I'm supposed to feel in it. The more tailoring I do to my costume, the more comfortable it'll be to wear on stage. You know? I'm still a little scared about starting tea. I don't know what it's going to be like, but I'm also really excited. So here I am, week 0. I'm out to my friends and family and at work. I'm about to start tea. I'm nervous, but I'm also hopeful. My whole life, something has felt wrong, but I feel like I'm finally on the right path. I feel comfortable and like I'm finally being real with everyone. I have to get my medical transition started and eventually change my legal information so it matches my new name. I have to get used to referring to myself as male because old habits are hard to break. Introducing myself to people as Robert is a trip, but I love it. I had to move into my office to get out from under my partner's feet and give him some space to process all this and what it means for the future of our family. For now, we're staying married on paper, even though we are separating. I'm still living in the house so I can provide childcare and be present for the boys. In return, I get a roof over my head and help with the bills. It's an arrangement that is working for us right this second. I love my partner, but he loves the Megan mask that I used to wear. I have to be prepared to give him the time and space to adjust to the new me. I don't know what the future holds. I don't know if I'll ever pass as male. I don't know what my new voice will sound like. But I do know that I'm going to keep being the me that God created. Robbo is the person I always was under the Megan mask, and I'm pleased and relieved to finally get to introduce him to the world. I hope this video helps any baby trans someones out there who's feeling lost or scared. You're not alone. You're not alone. And it's okay to be the real you. There are ways to get the hormones you need via mail. There are ways to get therapy via telehealth. You can meet your need to transition without ever leaving your own home. There is hope. You can do it, and I believe in you. Thanks for watching. I'll be documenting my journey here, so if you're interested, like and subscribe. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I'll do my best to answer them honestly. If you have any mean comments, first, thank you for watching this video all the way to the end. I appreciate it. And second, I feel your pain and your anger. They're valid emotions. They come from a place of grief for what you cannot have, and I understand that. Leave your hurtful comment, but know that I will pray for you and I hope you find peace with yourself. Anyway, for the rest of you, remember, you're valid, you're worthy, and you're not alone. I'll see you next week.